Hi everybody, this is Diane. I'm working on the Stash Buster journals that I started. I have 5 going. So you see 3 of them here. There's another one. And there's another one. So far I have the pages cut. They're not assembled. In a couple of the books they are assembled. I just cut my chipboard for the spine and a piece of Tyvek and chose the fabric to cover the spines on all of them. And this morning, for the first part of the day, I was doing the pages for just one of the books. So I've got 3 signatures pretty much done. I'll probably add a little more to them, but I wanted to have an idea of how big I needed to make the spine. So I did put 2-inch spine on that one, and I have 2-inch spines cut for the other ones. So today I'm going to make the covers. So, well, I already have that one started, so let's go with this one so I can do it start to finish with you. I did take the time to put the tape on. I've got my Tyvek cut, I've got my end papers cut, and my fabric, and these are just the pages that will go inside. So I'm just gonna take the red liner off of my tape. This is the kind of tape it is. This happens to be from Hobby Lobby, the papery shop, but other craft stores have it also. This is, I don't even know which store this one came. Oh, I ordered this on Amazon. I ordered the 1/2 inch or the 1/8 inch by mistake. I used the 1/4 inch, but the 1/4 inch comes on a spool that's big like this from Amazon and from other craft stores. But this is what you look for, just tape that looks red. But it's just the lining on it that's red. It's a very strong tape, so I like to use it when I'm constructing my covers. That's about the only thing I use it for. You guys did say that you would like me to do a video on glues and adhesives, so I will talk about that again when I do my glue video. But for now, you can see it in use. I will also be using the Fabri-Tac in the construction of these covers. So I cut my chipboard, which I also get from Amazon. If I get it on the back of a tablet, if it's sturdy enough, I use that. But I keep some from Amazon, and I see that I have to order some more. And I will link that below so you can know the thickness. I think this is a thicker piece that was on the back of a tablet. Sometimes they're even better than what I get from Amazon as far as thickness. So anyway, I cut it 2 inches by the height of the book. I use my grid on my mat. I've done this before on video, but we're doing it again. I use the grid to line everything up so that everything is straight with each other. Nothing is crooked. I already have this piece of Tyvek, which you can get from Amazon, or if you happen to get a package from somebody in the mail using a Tyvek envelope from the post office, you can cut that up and use it. It's very sturdy. A lot of people, I'm putting fabric on it, so I probably don't need the Tyvek because the fabric isn't gonna tear. But I have the Tyvek, and that's what I've always used, and I just keep on using it. So that cover is all put together now, but it doesn't look very pretty. So I'm going to cover it with fabric, and I chose this fabric with some bright colors. There's bright pink, and there's red and brown in the cover. So I chose a fabric with bright pink, and I cut it wider than the Tyvek. Just a little bit, slightly larger, wider than the Tyvek. And then I cut it so that it will wrap all the way around with a little bit of overlap. I like to put the bottom of it, have that the small end up on the bottom, so that this side, the raw edge, is going to be open there. I just like to have that facing down near the bottom. That's just my own personal preference. It doesn't matter. So I've got that centered. I'm going to glue this little bottom flap first, and I'm using the Fabri-Tac for this. Smooth it up there. Now I want to glue the outside spine, so I need to know where to start putting the glue. So I just kind of put my glue tip there and then flip the cover over and then add glue. I don't want to glue the entire strip because I'm going to flip this over, and then all this, if that had glue on it, it would just get all over the place on my mat. So through trial and error, this is how I do it. Everybody has their own process, I am sure. I try not to pull it too hard, stretch it, make it too taut, but it does need to be smooth, no slackness in it, but you don't want to just pull it super tight. And just smooth it out. Don't bend your covers because the glue is still, like, don't close the book up at all while the glue is drying. And now I will just add the glue to this side. See how quick and easy it is once you have your pieces cut? And remember, your stitching will, if you're going to stitch into the spine, your stitching will go through all of this fabric, so it will help hold it in place also. Well, I made that, it goes all the way down to the edge. This isn't cut very straight, but that's okay because I'm going to cover it with paper anyway. If I had a book with an end paper that I really liked, I would put some trim right here to cover up the raw edge of the fabric and leave the end paper. But I don't think there are any books in this set of journals that I'm making that I like the end paper and want to keep it. So I'm covering all the end papers, I think. And I used to use my red tape for this also, but I decided that Fabri-Tac holds it down well enough. The red tape is like $3 for, I think it's 5 yards. Yeah, it's about $3 for 5 yards, and it's more expensive some places. Joann's has their brand is more expensive. But if I only use it on the covers, I don't go through it as fast as I used to. We've been having quite a few thunderstorms, and I love thunderstorms. We had a really short one yesterday, and it just came on really sudden. The rain poured down, and the thunder was cracking, and lightning was cracking, and my daughter lost power. She doesn't live very far away from me, so it must have been just very localized. She texted me to see if I had power. And hers wasn't out very long, but it was out for a little bit. But we haven't had any today, but I think we're supposed to this afternoon. So now I've got raw edges here, and I got my Rick Rack and GIMP out because I often like to use those items on my covers. And I'll use my Fabri-Tac for that also. If I have my rickrack, how about this big pink one? That would be cute. I like to use kind of funky things when I'm doing eclectic journals like these. Yeah, I really like that. Unfortunately, I covered up part of the R, so it says Eddie to roll instead of ready to roll. But it's still a cute cover, isn't it? I've been using my new little mat that I got at Hobby Lobby, but I tend to get Fabri-Tac glue on my mat when I'm doing my covers. It'll seep through the fabric a little bit, or if I'm putting it on the trim like this, I tend to get it on my mat, and I didn't want to mess up my new mat, so I put my old one back on. I don't know if I tried cleaning the dirt off of that. Let's see if I can get a little bit of that dirt off. Yeah, it must be I didn't work at it because I'm getting some dirt off it. It's just a baby wipe. Just knocked a pin on the floor and I want to pick it up before my foot finds it. Okay, gotta get a paper towel. This cover is pretty full of decoration, or, printing, so I don't think I want to add anything. I could maybe add a trim or something to the bottom once I get the signature sewn in, but I'll leave it, and I will add pockets or something, label in a pocket once the signatures are done. So those are the pages. I made envelopes out of large book pages and map pages to put in the center of the signatures. Now this one, since the signatures are just about done, I would like to finish making the cover. So I put everything together just like you saw me do on the other one. So I figured you only needed to watch me do that once. And I don't think I trimmed this to the right size. This is a heavy, like a duck cloth. Now these are nice end papers. They're not written on, they're not marked up, and they look vintage because this is a very vintage book, but I think I'm going to go ahead and cover them anyway. Came loose. I think I better give it a moment. This fabric is heavy, so it might take it a moment to want to stick down. I'm having fun using all kinds of different items in these journals. I always have fun when I do the eclectic journals. And I chose this paper for the end cap. End paper, not end cap. Sometimes I use my ATG glider for this, but then I usually end up putting Fabri-Tac on the side that it's gonna be adhered to the fabric. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use the Fabri-Tac for all of it today. The ATG tape. When I first started doing these paper crafts, I was making smash books and mini albums, and I would use, I think Scotch white glue was the only wet glue that I used. But when you wanted to do a pocket, you didn't want to use the sticky tape like this for a pocket, because that wouldn't ever dry. It would always be sticky, and then your papers could get stuck in there that you inserted in the pocket. So I would use the Scotch glue for that. And I watched a lot of Kathy Ortega, and she is remarried now, and I haven't watched her since she remarried, because she makes fantastic mini albums and all kinds of things that she constructs with paper and chipboard and cardstock and everything. But I didn't make mini albums for very long. So anyway, she's the one that I followed her advice for the glues and tapes and stuff. She does a lot of score tape, and I didn't get into the score tape too much because it was so expensive. Okay, so there's that. And now I want to cover the edges, raw edges of the fabric on the outside. I think I like this blue-gray. Would you call this a mask making video? I don't think I'll make all 5 covers in one video. But is it a mask making session if I make all 5 covers? I've never done a mask making video, or I've never called one that anyway. This is a pretty staid STAID cover. I didn't even add a pop of fun. Well, those wide stripes are kind of fun on the spine. Sometimes when I have a serious looking book cover, I like to put a really fun and funky fabric on the spine when I'm doing eclectic journals. Like for the science experiments book that I have coming up next. I picked a really fun and bright fabric for that. I have a pocket that was in my stash. I wonder if I can use this pocket on this cover. I certainly can. It's got 2, oh, I'm sorry, you couldn't see it. It's got 2 pockets on it, but I'm going to wait, see if it goes better in a different book. So there's that one. That fabric is so heavy. It feels rather stiff when I close it, but it'll probably loosen up. Yeah, it's fine. It's not popping open. Beautiful. I think that fabric looks nice on the spine. Got 2 covers put together. This one has the bright fabric. And obviously I tore the end paper, but I would have covered it anyway because it's pretty dull. This is a pretty bright cover. I don't know if you would call this a serious, it's science, it's about science experiments, but it's for 5th graders. So it's very colorful. Some of this is going to get covered up with the fabric, but I love the colors. I wish the red border was over here. I don't have the other covers put together, so I figured I would only do these 3 on camera. I have the chipboard and Tyvek and fabrics cut, but I haven't assembled the covers with the chipboard and stuff on the other 2 yet. It's getting late in my crafty day. It's almost time for me to stop the crafting so I can do my housework, put my laundry away, make dinner, stuff like that. But I can always choose to come back in and do some more on these if I want to. I'm trying to limit my, I don't need to be doing work all the time like I did. You know, I used to just pretty much do this all the time if I wasn't doing my cleaning or even watching TV. I was working on something that had to do with journaling or getting things ready for my shop and stuff. But I'm trying not to do that so much. But if it's a, you know, project that I'm really having fun with and I want to do that, by all means, go ahead and do it if you like your work that much, right? And I chose this pretty blue chevron to cover the end papers. What do you think of that bright color on this cover? You can see half of that guy's nervous system, or circulatory system, I think it is. I filled my bottle up just before I started this video so it would flow freely for me on the video because it was getting kind of low. I really like this blue with it. I hope this isn't too boring watching me do the same thing 3 times. But I'm using different fabrics, different colors. I just love this cover. It has a nice smooth feel to it. Oops, that's not the piece I want. There, that's a nice bright cover. one. Well, I did that a lot faster than I expected to. I chose the same bright fabric for this one. These end papers I think I will leave though. As symbols. So that if the teacher puts these marks on your paper, you can look them up. It's a college book. Look it up and see what it is you need to fix. Oh, I don't need to line that up yet. I need to put some tape on it. I used up the last roll. What time is it? 3:38. I usually give myself till 4 o'clock so I can stop and do my housework before supper. But I usually go a little over because I don't want to stop. I just want to finish this thing. Never been that way about work before. Is it time to go? Is it time to go? I get glue stuck all over my fingers, and then when I'm playing with the red tape, the glue comes off my fingers and sticks to the tape. Press the adhesive part down really good so that the red liner comes off easily without pulling up the adhesive. It's more difficult on the chipboard because it wants to pull up a layer of chipboard. Oh, that was pretty painless. I hope I cut my Tyvek for this one. Maybe I forgot it. I don't see it here. That one's not quite long enough. I like to cut it before my tape gets sticky because I'll lay it on here to get the right width and then cut it. But I can't do it now because I already pulled the adhesive off, or the backing off. So I'm going to have to start a new envelope. So this is how I get the Tyvek. I think you can now buy sheets. I had never been able to find sheets. So I always got the envelopes. And well, first of all, a friend gave me a batch of envelopes, and they lasted me a long time. And then Walmart started carrying Tyvek envelopes, and then they very quickly, seemed like it was only about a year, they stopped carrying Tyvek envelopes, so they put all their envelopes on sale. They were only packs of 5 and on clearance, and I bought several packs. I should have bought more because I thought, well, I don't need that many, but I go through them a lot faster than I thought I would. Oh, I left this here so I could measure it. I think I'm running kind of low on Tyvek now. Okay, now we're ready. Just put a little bit of a space between the cover and the spine. And then try not to move anything when you lay this down. I'm going to get to go to a lake on Saturday. The young girl that I had done Bible studies with, and now she just comes over to bake with me or take a walk with me or hang out with me. She's 16 and she's a friend of my grandson's, Adam, and she's having a birthday party at one of the lakes in Ithaca, New York. Ithaca, New York is famous for, well, Cornell College, but also for the gorges. There are many gorges and waterfalls and places to walk, but there's some lakes too. It's in the Finger Lakes region of New York. So we are going to go to Toghannock Lake for her birthday. She invited me and she invited Adam, in addition to her family. So my daughter-in-law is going to drive us up there because I told my young friend that I don't drive places that I'm not familiar with, and she's perfectly fine with, you know, she knows my whole family. We all go to church together, and my son was her youth leader when we still had youth group before COVID. And he can't drive us because he's working, so Stephanie said she would drive us. And Layla is coming too with her, so we are going to go to Toghannock Lake in Ithaca, and they're making homemade ice cream. And there's swimming, which I won't do because I don't want to put a bathing suit on. I don't mind getting in the water, but not in front of people. So I'll take a walk. They have a nice walking trail there. And my husband and I used to like to go to places like that and have picnics and put a canoe or a kayak in the water, go for a walk. I've really missed doing that. But I don't think they're going to do a picnic. It sounds to me like they're just going to do the homemade ice cream. It's at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I guess we'll have to eat lunch before we go. Sorry. There, I like that. The background of this fabric is pretty much the same shade as this fabric, or background. Now I need to put a rickrack on this side. See how this is all scratched up? I'll probably put some fabric or something on there. Just do a collage there. Oh, well, something else I could do that you haven't seen me do today, and that is fix those corners. This is the oldest book cover that I'm using for these journals, and the corners aren't that bad, but this one is dinged up and bent, so I'm gonna cover the corners. I just have these metal book corner covers that I can put on. And to do that, I use another kind of glue. You're getting a glue lesson early. I use glossy accents. The problem with this particular bottle is there's still a lot in here, but I'm having trouble with the nozzle. It's bent, and I'm gonna have to cut that off, I think, and I have to poke a pin in it to open up the airway, so to speak, and my pin went right through the side of the nozzle at one point, so now it keeps wanting to do that. Might be better since I cut off the end, because the end was very curved. But glossy accents is, you can put it on top of something to provide a nice glossy finish to it, but it also works as a glue to hold down metal pieces and buttons and stuff like that. That's primarily what I use it for now. I just put a little touch of the glue on there just to make sure that the book corner stays in place, and then I slip it on there, and then I use my little hammer to just hammer down those little edges. Don't need to fill it in with glue, just a little bit to just really secure it in place. And you might not even need to do that, but I do. I have fabric yo-yos and pieces of vintage fabric that were cut into quilt pieces and things like that that I can use to decorate the covers further if I want to. Like that. This cover looks more plain than the others. So let's look at some yo-yos. I thought I had my yo-yos over here. Where'd I put them? Oh, here they are. I've got the vintage ones, and I've got some newer ones. I don't make these. Some of these new ones I bought from Etsy, and some I got in Happy Mail, and some I've gotten at flea markets. But this was a whole quilt. This really old one was a quilt that I had to cut up, and I put a lot of those pieces in my shop when I did that. The quilt was coming apart. It had pieces missing, and it was falling apart, in case you get upset about the fact that I took apart a really old quilt like that. It was in terrible shape. Maybe just one yo-yo and a little piece of fabric. I want to cover up this spot down here too. Look for a green, because I've got blue and green in that. That one's really puffy. I don't think there's anything inside it. It was just puckered up really tightly. This one has stuffing inside it. I'm not finding the colors I want. And I'm gonna have to go because my camera won't want to go much further than it's done already. I'm just snipping the threads holding on this green one. It's got a pretty open center, so that little blue one looks cute stuck on there. I like it when I have various sizes I can use. Well, I'm going to keep trying to figure this out, but I'm going to have to shut the camera off. But I hope you enjoyed seeing how I put my covers together. There we go. I think that's what we're going to do right there. And decorating them, and I hope you're looking forward to seeing what we're going to do with the pages. So I'm trying to take you on most of the journey with these journals. So I hope that you will continue to come along and watch the process and craft along with me. Thanks for watching. Have a creative day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.